So welcome to our workshop for week 7 on Discord bots. And this probably won't be relevant for most, if not all, of your projects for the term, but it's something that's we think it's a little bit more fun and maybe something you want to work on in the future or even now. So we'll start with what is a Discord bot, and it's essentially a program that acts like it's a user on a Discord server. And the Discord server can just be anything like the App Development Club Discord server that we have. And these bots can automatically respond to events and commands. And there's basically a non-exhaustive list of things that possible applications that these bots can do. You can have them roll dice, you can have them play music and voice channels, display quotes or text of some sort, and you can also have them automate processes like welcoming new members, authenticating users, and assigning roles to members. And I believe each server can only have up to 3 bots on it. And each bot will have a little bot tag next to it. And in this picture I have up here, you can see this tag right here, the blue bot.
I don't think the 3 bot thing is true.
Oh, is that not true? Whoops.
Yeah, I
probably just made that up.
I think it's pretty unlimited.
Okay, sweet. Thank you for that. And here's a cool example of a Discord bot that I encountered. The OSU Security Club has a cool bot where when you join their server, they'll ask you to authenticate yourself first by replying with your Oregon State email, and then the bot will respond by giving you a confirmation code to that email, and then they can verify you once you send back that code and update your roles. So I thought that was a cool application of a Discord bot. And I'll go into how you can create a Discord bot. So on this developer portal right here, you can, gives you an option to create an application, and you can from there create a bot and give it a name. And then in the bot tab, you can click the add bot and yes to it. And I'll show an example of this real quick. Oops. So here on this developer portal tab, and I'll put this link in the chat. You can go ahead and click new application. You can give this a name. And then over here, you have this, you can add a picture, description, general information. And then over here in the bot tab, you can add a bot. And here it is. Here's the bot. And this is where you actually add the name. And then you have the token, which is kind of acts like the bot's password. You can think of it like that. And you can copy it with this. And this will be important later. I'll show you a where we need to put this. And if it ever gets compromised, you can regenerate a new token. So that's the developer portal. And if you want to create like just your own little test Discord server to test out your bot, you can, if I pull up Discord here, go down here to this plus button to add a server and just create your own. And then you can give it a name and create. I've already done that. And I have this test server right here that I'm going to be using. And to add a bot to a server, if we go back to the developer portal, we go to the OAuth 2 tab, and then we can give the bot permissions. And then it's going to give us a link. And by using that link, we can add the bot to any server that we have. So I'll show that real quick. We go to OAuth 2. And we click on the bot. That's what our application is. And there's a whole bunch of permissions that we can give the bot. We can just give it the least privilege that it really should need for what you want it to do. And okay, I think that's all I want. You can also give it voice permissions too, so that's kind of from before when you could have it play music. And then I can copy this link right here, and then I can paste this in my browser here, and I can add this Discord bot to any server that I own, or I believe it's administrator privileges on. Let's see. Yeah. just managing server permissions. And so I'll go ahead and add it to my test server that I created. There it is. And if you use this link, you could also theoretically add this bot to your servers as well. And then it's going to ask me to grant it permissions for all these that I want it to have. So I'll authorize that. And I am a human. And if I pull up Discord now, you can see that my demo bot has joined, and it is currently offline since I don't have it running yet. But it is on the server. And then, so I'm going to show how to code the Discord bot in Python. And for sure, you need this to install discord.py using this command. And these are for Windows, by the way. But you can also do it for other operating systems too. I just don't know the command off the top of my head. And then I'm also going to be using this .env thing just to kind of hide the token for the bot. And so we can go ahead and start on this. There's also this API reference. There's a lot of different things and objects that you'll see as we go through this. And this reference contains all of the different methods and attributes of those objects. And it's a good source to use if you want to look up a specific functionality. Yeah, and there's a link to that. We'll go to here. I have my demo folder. And I've done two things so far. I've created.
Quickly, I want to ask, do you need to install Python to run any commands or not?
I believe so. Yeah, this is using pip to install. And I do believe you have to install that first.
Do you want to share the link to do that? And is this Python 2 or 3 that you need?
I'm using Python 3.
Okay.
Yeah, the 3 tag.
Asking, 'cause I didn't see it on the announcement, so.
Good question. I don't know that the link is off the top of my head. I believe we put it in did we put it in a previous workshop? I don't think we did.
Yeah, just search up download Python.
Sure.
Okay.
And I'll just put this link in the tab in the chat. Okay. I am using Python 3, by the way. Yes. Okay. Going back into VS Code, I'm going to start by creating a new file. Oh wait, I'm going to go over what I have first. So I have the secret.env where I'm going to put the Discord bots token. So kind of like its password that so Discord will know what bot I'm referring to. And I also created this quotes text just with some text lines that I'm going to use for a feature I'll show you later. You can put anything you want here. It doesn't have to be anything like this. I just found some cool CS quotes that I thought I'd add. Okay, so I have my bot.py, and I'm going to start by just importing a couple of things here. I'm not going to need all these yet, but I'm just going to get them out of the way.
If you ever want to know a quote, I think Adam himself can be better than the bot itself. He's got about 1,000+ quotes registered into his brain. So just ask him for a random quote. He'll give you something.
You may have seen it earlier when I was on my the developer portal page. That's not it. I do have another Discord bot that I made all about a bunch of famous quotes from my friend group. So that's what Alex is referencing. So yes, I'm going to import these Discord OS for the operating system. And then we have .env, which is what I was talking about before. And then from Discord extensions, we're going to use a couple of things. And there's a lot of other things you can import from Discord extensions, and those would be covered, or all of that would be included in the API if you want to read into that. Before I move on much further, I'm going to actually go back to the demo bot here. I'm going to copy its token or the password, and I'm just going to paste it right here in this file right here. So I have Discord underscore token in all capital letters equals. I'm just going to paste it in right there. Not going to show you though. Okay. You'll just have to trust me that I pasted it in there. And then I'll get the token. Like this. So now I have it saved in a variable. And I'll create the bot object. And this prefix, you may have seen it with bots before on Discord. Before typing in a command for the bot, you usually type in a prefix or some character to kind of get the attention of the robot per se. And this character right here can be anything you want, or the prefix really. I believe it can be multiple characters, but I'm not 100% positive on that. And we'll see this later once we actually write a couple commands for the bot. But for now, that's just there for completion. And then I can run the bot using the token. And so the bot comes with a number of events that you can call. So one of the events is called onReady. So once the Discord bot is, when you run it, the first thing it's going to do is call the onReady function. And I'm just going to have that make a print statement just so I know that the bot is online. Okay, so I have this onReady function right here. And you may also see this with a client object instead of a bot object. I'm just choosing to use a bot because I do need to use the bot object for the commands later. So if you're curious about that, that's why. And then to run the bot, I'm just going to do pi and then bot.py. And there goes, it goes. My demo bot or the username is connected to the server. And then if I go to Discord, you can see that it is now online. But the bot doesn't do anything yet. So one thing you can do, another one of these events right here, is called the onMessage event. Event. So whenever there's a message sent on the server that the bot is also on, it's going to call this onMessage function right here with the message object. And we'll see a couple of attributes from this message object, or at least one attribute. I'm going to start by introducing two bugs into the code, just to kind of show you what will happen. Okay, so I'm going to just write a response real quick. So whenever a message is sent, it's going to respond with this static message with the user's name, with the author attribute. And then it's going to send a message on the same channel as this initial message was sent. But this isn't going to work, and I'll show you why. And to stop the bot, you'd see it's still running right now. I can just click Control C to send it a kill signal, and then I can run it again now with my new. And you'll see that it doesn't respond here. That's because there's actually an error. So you'll see that oftentimes if there's an error with the bot, it may not respond. So go out and check your terminal there for the error. And in this case, it's just because I need to typecast this into a string. And there's a second error here, and that's this message doesn't restrict it to any user. So when the bot sends this message on the channel, it will then see that there's another message and will send an infinite loop of messages. So let's see that just for fun. It's connected. And it said hello to me, and now it's saying hello to itself. Yeah, I need to stop this. Okay. So yeah. And we can prevent this just by putting an if statement here. And now if it's its own message, then it just won't respond. Okay, that's one event. And another event, I'm not going to be able to actually show it off because I only have one Discord account, but there is an event called onMemberJoin. And I'll just show that real quick. And this passes a member. And you can do something like greeting them and sending them like a direct message. And I'll just write the code for that so you can see how it is. Okay, and this would just create a direct message channel and then send the message. Kind of like that OSU security bot I was showing before. It sent me, when I joined their server, it then sent me a direct message. I won't be able to show this off, as I said, but that is a functionality that you can use on a Discord bot. Okay, and now I'm going to show off some commands, and I have two in mind. First was with this quotes.txt right here. Okay. And whenever you create a command, you have to give it a name and you have to give it a help message. And we'll see this help message when we type the bot prefix followed by the word or the command help. And then we can run this when we type the prefix again and the word quote, since that's the name we gave the command. So like that. And in this function, I need to start by, before I can even reference my quotes, I need to get them into a list format. Okay, so now I just have them, I'm going to read all the lines, and each line's going to be an entry into this quotes array right here. And then I'm just going to select a random and this passes a context right here. And I can use this context. Here's the help message. I know I didn't show. So it called this on message function. And once it saw that this was completed, it just didn't assess whether it needed to look at the commands or not. So I need to put another line here. Basically telling the bot to look at all the possible commands and see if the message is telling it to respond with that command. Let me restart the bot. Okay, and now we can see that we have our quote command right here. And if I type the quote, it will respond with a so yes, that's one of the commands that I wanted to show. And then I do have a second command that I want to show. This one will be for rolling a dice. And when you actually call these functions, you can pass parameters to them in Discord. So I can type roll for calling this command, and then I can pass in two numbers. So the number of dice that I want to roll, and then the number of sides on each of those dice in this case. That's what I'm going to have it do. And then also I can, while I'm at it, I can show you, you can also set these to default values. So if they don't input the value, then it will give it the default. Say 1 and 6, for example. Okay, so I'm just going to get a random number in the range from 1 to the number of sides on the dice. Plus 1 there. Because it's the random number function goes 0 up to this value, but not including it. So, or the range specifically goes up to this value, but not including it. That's what I'm trying to say. And then I'm going to do this for each of the dice that the user wanted me to roll. And then I'm going to print out the dice that they rolled and some of the dice. And I'm also going to print out the So I'm going to print out the, this is just going to print out the number of dice that they rolled, the size of each of those dice. And then inside these parentheses right here, I'm going to print out the results of each dice roll with a comma and a space between each of them. So that's what this is doing. And then on the next line, I'm going to print the total or the sum of all the dice that were rolled. And then I can roll, say, 3 6-sided dice. And I have an error. Oh, whoops, I need to restart. Okay, there we go. It rolled 3 6-sided dice with a 4 6 a 4, and sum was 14. And then I'll get rid of that extra space I added there by accident. But first, I want to show that I also have the optional parameters there, which I just put as 1. That was the second command I want to show, and then one more I want to show off real quick. It's just asserting that you have a certain role on the server. Like admin, for example, could be a role on a server, and you have to have that role in order to execute this command. So I'll show that. And this is going to create a channel just to show off another thing you can do. And by default, it's just going to have that name. And one more bot event here is if they do not have this role right here, we can print out a message saying that they don't have the permission to do that. Okay. Yeah, it's just going to assert that they have, we'll check that the error is failure. And then make this part statement right here. I was expecting it to print that, but oh, I see what I did wrong. It's a hyphen there. That wasn't actually a command. So now that I'm actually typing in the name of the command, it says that I do not have the correct roles. So I can go up here and I can go up, add the new role. And one thing while I'm here in the roles page, you'll notice whenever you add a bot to a Discord server, it automatically creates a role for that bot with the permissions that the bot authorize the bot to have when adding it. I don't even recall that. There goes. They created a new text channel right here called Real Python. And that is the last thing that I wanted to show with Discord. So I can go ahead and pass it off to Jonathan now. But feel free to ask any questions, either in chat or in the Discord.
You know what would be a cool Discord bot? Is if you can download a bot that would just kick people. That would be a good demonstration of authorization. It's been, or unban yourself. I have a few Discords that I've been banned from. I'd like to get back into it.
Well,
After my account got hacked, I need a way to get back into Discords.
I don't think the bot will be the best route for you there, because you'd have to you'd have to have that bot gain permission on those servers and then unban you.
Well, make the bot like the leader then.
The leader of the
The
server.
server owner. You know, I don't know what the server owner is. Some people declare themselves a server owner. We just need to declare the bot as a server owner and then it will work.
You can give the bot the administrator privilege. It was the first one on the list back in the page where I created the bot and gave it permissions. And that is basically the server owner. You can do essentially.
Oh, okay.
The bot
Good deal.
can like unban and kick people. And I don't know what those are, but they are somewhere in the API list that I gave.
You know, there's some cool bots I've seen. Well, actually, there's also some dumb bots I've seen. So one of the cool bots that I've seen is basically the Google Translate. So you can type in something with a little extra dash or command, and then it will automatically translate into the person's language. This happens when you join a server that's full of not necessarily English-speaking people, or a mix of all. It worked good, or worked okay. Google Translate is not very good at grammar. Another bot that I've seen is a me bot. You may have encountered that. I think that one is one of the most useless bots I've ever seen. But it basically gives you a rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's it. Based off of how many things you say. You can just say hi like 100 times in a day, you'll be up the rank. Anyways, Jonathan's up.
Yeah, I guess my first thing that I can share with with Discord bots is that I think Discord bots are really perfect for anyone just looking for some kind of project to work on, because there's not a lot of in app development. There's typically a lot of like frameworks or development environments that you have to learn in native or web, and that's not the case for Discord bots. And generally, Discord bot functionality is going to be pretty simple. I mean, you can get very complicated with it, but the roadblocks to add really simple features is really straightforward, and it's just a great way to work on a project that you can actually interact with and can meaningfully make your life more convenient or fun, just on a regular basis, so long as you use Discord. Botting in general, I think, is pretty similar across a lot of chat services if they support it. The exact processes might be different, but generally I think bots are a great way to just become a bit more familiar with programming and have a project to keep going. that's been one of my mainstay projects that I've had for years now, is just some bot in some form that I've been working on, changing and adding to for ages. Yeah, anyway, so what I wanted to show off in particular was a way to possibly work on the complexity a little bit. So in case your bot is becoming too big for one file, there's too many lines in one thing, and it's getting pretty disorganized. There's a system in discord.py that kind of helps you with this. So I was going to go show that off. So here we have a main file very similar to what Adam had written, with the key difference being that instead of having any commands in here, I have a line that says load extension, and it refers to this string, which is referring to the file in the folder extensions called roll message. So when we go to this file that is being loaded as an extension, we can see a few things. We actually need to start at the bottom. So this is the function that actually gets run when we add it as an extension. And what this extension does is it adds something called a cog to the Discord bot object. And cogs are another thing, another feature in this Discord API or Discord library that help you organize your code a bit. I use them in conjunction, extensions and cogs, pretty frequently. They're not the same thing, but I use them similarly, or at the same time, so they might as well be the same thing for me. But it adds the cog, and it adds the cog roll message, and provides the argument bot. And roll message is a class that I've defined just above. It inherits from the cog class, which is defined in the Discord library. If you're not familiar with Python classes, I'll try and describe in more generic object-oriented terms. This is the class that's being inherited, and this is the constructor. So this function runs once as soon as the class is instantiated, and it takes an argument, which is the bot, matches down here, and it adds that bot to a variable attached to the class. And it also initializes an empty dictionary on this class. And so the reason why I like using cogs is because they really allow you to organize your code much more effectively than if you were doing everything in one file, obviously. But what I typically do with these is I organize my code by feature instead of by individual events or commands. So commonly in Discord bot programming, you'll have a feature that will interact with several events or commands. And it's really helpful to be able to organize all these together in their own little module and then put them in their own file that you can, then keep separate from all the other ones as you keep adding. So that's kind of the idea with cogs. And here what I've done is I've just written a small little function that I typically have written in all of the bots that I or in every bot that I ever write, because it's just easy to have, and something that comes up a lot is this concept that I've called a roll message. And that's the idea of a message that you can click a react to, a react button on in Discord, and it will give you that role instead of needing some person who runs the server to give it to you manually. This isn't a complete or perfect implementation. There's some restrictions that I'll mention, but this is the baseline of it, so we can show it working. So the two relevant bits of relevant functions here are the roll message command and the on raw reaction add listener. So a few things you'll notice about this roll message is that it has this is a way to block the execution of commands according to what permissions the user is running it has. So this command can only be run if the user running it has the administrator command or permission. And this decorator specifies that this command can only work in, they're called guilds in the Discord API. They're referring to servers every time the word guild comes up. So this command can only be run by administrators, and it can only be run in a server versus if you tried to DM the bot and run the command, it wouldn't work. So the functionality of this is just using a bunch of Discord library stuff. I guess one thing that's I should mention that's of course really I mean this is kind of true of literally any programming thing you could ever want to work with, but it's you know true here as well, so I'll say it anyway. But it's always really handy to have the documentation up next to you when you're working on with a library. So this is just using a bunch of objects and classes that were created by the library and have a bunch of convenient parameters to access to get the information we want. So in this case, this command is going to take whatever the text is that was supplied after the command, and it's going to search for a role in the server list or in the server with that name. If it has a role with that name, it will save it out here. And if it doesn't, this variable will never be updated, so it will stay as none. So once we find whether there's a role matching that name or not, we first will, if there was no role, we'll send them a message that says, hey, that the role doesn't exist, and then exit the command. But if there is a role that exists that does have that name, we'll send a message into the channel. We'll add a reaction to that message, and then we will save that message ID, or save that specific role that we found, and according to the ID of the message that was just sent. So this was the purpose of the dictionary up here. This dictionary maps message IDs to roles. So now we have, as long as you typed in the right name, a message with a react on it and a role associated with that message. And now whenever a reaction is added, this event happens whenever any message is reacted to at all in any server the bot is watching. So of course, once we do this, we have to make sure that this is a reaction that we actually care about. So we'll check to see if the message ID in this event is in our list of role messages. If it's not, obviously we just exit because we don't care if someone reacts to their friend's message about something, whatever. We only care about messages that got reacted to with, you know, that are in our list of special role message messages. If there is an existing, or if that message does exist in our dictionary, so we've saved it from when we made it before, we're going to add the role in that dictionary to the user who reacted. And that's the whole progression of the command. So I'll go over to my Discord. I guess I need to actually change, or maybe I did. Let me make sure I have my screen share configured correctly. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to, so okay, here we have the Discord. You guys can see this, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, just double checking. Okay, so I'm going to run the command. I called it role message, and then I'm going to type in a role. I made one just for this demonstration. I called it testing. Actually, no, I called it thing, but let's try and break it. I want to make sure that functionality works. So I'm going to type in a role that doesn't exist. I'm fairly certain this role doesn't exist. Oh, I don't think I remembered to run my bot. So I'll go ahead and do that. And try it again. There you go. Yep, all right, so that role doesn't exist. That works correctly, but if I use a role that does exist, thing, then it will spit out that message and add a little react to it. So if you look at my username right, or if you look at me right now, well, I had the role from when I was testing earlier, but I'll just remove it really quick. So right now I don't have the role. I'm going to click the checkbox and double check again, and there it is. I have the role that I wanted. So that's like the bare minimum of what you would need to get this command working. I'll note the things that I didn't cover here just for the sake of brevity, and it opens up a whole bunch of can of worms to cover. And frankly, some of them I didn't have time to figure out. But obviously want some functionality you would want after making it so that you can get roles is that you can remove roles. So if you had like a role, if for example, we had a server for the school and you had a role for each class, you're in the class, you get the role, and then you're out of the class, you finish the class, and you want to remove the role. So it would be really convenient if we could just go back to this message and remove the checkbox and get the role removed. Obviously, I didn't implement that. That would be some other event, probably called something like on raw reaction remove. And it might require some small code changes to accommodate. But that would get it going. The main thing worth mentioning that will need to be figured that it's something that you'll pretty quickly run into if you're writing any kind of more complicated feature like this role message, is you're gonna need your bot's state to persist, which means you need to put data in some kind of database or something that's written to a file. So the reason why this is necessary is because obviously I haven't done anything to save this dictionary here. So when I restart the bot, which is gonna happen eventually, you'll need to restart your bot. You can't keep it running forever. As soon as I do that, this role message just breaks because it didn't save this message ID. It didn't save the role that was associated. So it's just broken. So data persistence, using whatever solution you find most convenient. You could literally write to a JSON file, JSON, or you could use a special one I've used in the past is a first-party Python library called Shelve, which works a lot like a dictionary, except every time you change it, it writes the contents to the disk. You could also just go full on use a MySQL database. That might be a little bit overkill for a Discord bot, but depending on how large your aspirations are for how many people are going to be using this bot, it might be necessary. And yeah, that's the main thing that would need to be implemented on top of this to make the feature work completely. Yeah, I think that's actually everything I wanted to show.
Cool. So it looks like everything that you guys have done is running locally. How do people like that have their bots already like out there, how are they running it? I'm pretty sure they're not running on the local computer, right?
Yeah, so most commonly you'll have, I mean, you might be able to run like own a machine, like a network attached storage, a NAS, and run it on there. As long as you know that machine's not going to power off anytime soon. But most commonly, this is what I do. You rent a server from some service like I use DigitalOcean personally. But there are many options for this. You rent a virtual machine server that you can remotely connect into and start the bot application there. These servers never go offline, practically never, and they'll keep it running the whole time. So that's a good question. There are some services that have free tiers. In the past, I have used Google Cloud Compute's free tier, which does offer a virtual machine that you can connect to, which has 100% uptime The disadvantage with the free tier on these systems is that they'll typically be very low specification systems, which for a very simple Discord bot is probably fine, but the more features you add and the more complexity you add, the more you might feel the pain of not a lot of storage, not a lot of RAM, half a CPU core, this kind of stuff. But it is there if you really can't spend the money on it. That's something to look into. Yeah.
Cool. Adam, do you use a different service other than DigitalOcean?
Yeah, I use a free service called Replit to host all my stuff. It's not particularly high quality. I also use another service called Uptime Robot, which is kind of pings it every 5 minutes. And it goes offline periodically, but if you say, I always save my stuff to a text file so it persists.
Mhm.
As you were saying, it can kind of be a hassle with those free services. And, this was an example of that. But if it's just a simple robot bot, it really isn't much of a problem. It's pretty easy to set up.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to find a free tier, and it'll work, and you might have to jump through some hoops like the Uptime bot or I think GCP's is 24/7. It's just slow, so there's always something like that. But if you are just running a basic bot, you're probably fine with one of these tiers and looking into it.
I think another option similar to Adam's Replit was Heroku. That one's also, they both do the same thing and have the free thing, except they keep going offline every once in a while. DigitalOcean and all that, like Google Cloud,
Mhm.
won't go offline.
Mhm. Yeah.
Any questions, other questions than mine for today's workshop? Otherwise, I have an announcement for next week's workshop. Okay, well, for next week, if it's okay with Jonathan and Adam, I would like to do the AWS workshop.
Yeah.
That one is my favorite workshop. Basically, you can, as soon as after learning out how to write all your code locally and all that stuff, like my questions with the Discord is like, how do you put it out in the world so for other people to use it? Because you don't want to run it on your computer all the time. And the way to do that is through the cloud. And the biggest provider right now is Amazon. So AWS, that's what it is, Amazon Web Services. And that is my favorite service to use. Reason why I'm using that, first of all, was back when I was trying out a code day competition back in high school. There was a group of kids using the Amazon Alexa. And that, at the time, Alexa was new, so I was super pumped for that. And I thought it was amazing how they were doing it. So then I wanted to do that and build an Alexa skill myself. So that's the main reason, one of the main reasons why I started with AWS. So they have a lot of cool gadgets because Amazon sells a lot of the, not only other people's stuff, but they also build their own products, which you can interface with the AWS cloud. So they have some cool racing competitions like with Deep Racer Car and some other camera stuff. They also have plenty of hackathons online with big prize pools. But basically, if you want to, after you learn how to do AWS, pretty much anything you want to do can be unlocked. And so I like to use it a lot. And pretty much anything I can think of, I just like, it's kind of like artwork. You just think of what you want to do and then paint a picture, or in technical words, we call it architecture, and then build it. And then all your local code can just be running in the cloud. And it's pretty cheap. For a database, if you have a free tier, it's free for a year. And then after that, it's like 14 bucks a month. So I'm excited for that workshop. So hope to see you all in that workshop. Hopefully you can pick out something from there and use it for whatever you want to use. I think there's also a class actually called Intro to Cloud Development from Rob Hess, which you can take in the, it's like a 400 level class, which you can take in the future. And it covers some AWS stuff and some other things there. So fun class. Oh, hey, Thomas. Yeah, thanks for coming by. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, I think that concludes today's meeting. So for anyone new here, you might want to join one of the beginner groups that are in the Discord channels. So right now, there's like 1, 2, and 3 fitness groups. You can ask to join one of those groups, or you don't have to work on it if you're uncomfortable. You just find out what's going on with them and join one of their workshops. All right, then. I'll see y'all next week. Take care, everyone.